to the second episode of Foundation 5. Today, we're gonna be testing out the new Jaclyn Cosmetics Skin Perfecting Blurring Tint and the new Jaclyn Cosmetics Perfecting Concealer. So normally for Foundation 5, I only try out like foundation-y or like face coverage kind of products. So like skin tints, foundations, tinted moisturizers, stuff like that. But these were released at the same time and I wanted to give you a first impressions and kind of a review on my channel, and I wanted to include it in this series. So we're making an exception today and also trying out a concealer. The skin tint is $34 and the Perfecting Concealer is $26. So they're both kind of like at a median price. I would say it's close to the high-end price, but it's not like as expensive as the NARS one was yesterday that I tried. There's a lot to unpack here. I was really confused by this launch. When I think of Jaclyn Hill, I think of full coverage, full glam, lashes, absolutely no imperfections peeking through. And when I saw that she was coming out with a complexion collection, I figured, oh, a full coverage concealer, which she came out with, and a full coverage foundation, which she did not come out with. This is supposed to be just a sheer blurring tint. And I was really confused by that because that is not what I think of when I think of Jaclyn Hill. And I especially thought that these two launched together were kind of weird because if I'm gonna wear like a blurring skin tint, I wouldn't choose like a high coverage concealer to go with it. Usually my high coverage concealers go with my higher coverage foundations, and something like the Charlotte Tilbury like under eye corrector or like some light serumy concealer would go with like a skin tint for me. I just don't usually pair a full coverage concealer with a light or sheer coverage foundation or base of some sort because it just doesn't add up to me, and I feel like I look weird when I have like a full coverage concealer on with a lighter coverage face base kind of product. But that was just my initial impressions. I did watch an IGTV video of Jaclyn using the products and kind of got an idea of how she uses them. Still thought it was interesting because even she admitted in that video, when you think of me, you think I'm wearing no makeup at all or I'm wearing full coverage. And I'm like, yeah, pretty much. Usually I don't think of a skin tint with you. But she applied it. It did look really beautiful on her skin. And the concealer also looked really beautiful on her skin. But today we're going to try it out on less than perfect skin. I know that Jaclyn said that she recently discovered she has rosacea. And it was a little like she had some rosiness in her cheeks. I have some acne scars to cover and really just less than perfect skin. My skin is a lot better than it has been in the past, but I definitely have some imperfections that I prefer to cover when I'm wearing makeup. This comes in at 12 shades. A lot of people are upset about it. Honestly, I'm kind of like in the middle of the road. I'm like, yeah, I could see how she should come out with more shades. But at the same time, it's supposed to be so sheer that it's not really supposed to provide any like pigmented coverage, you know, like not really any color. So I can see what her thought process was behind that. She did come out with 35 shades of the concealer, which I really appreciate. And on both of these, the names of them are super straightforward. So like this is Fair Light, very straightforward, and this is Fair Neutral. Also very straightforward. Nothing like macadamia nut 1, 2, 3 or something, you know, like, and I did appreciate that she came up with names that were just so straightforward because a lot of people don't know what a macadamia nut color is in comparison to their skin tone or something like that. So I really do like the way that she named these, and I like that the concealer has so many shades in there. And honestly, not really bothered by the skin tint range, but I could see how some people could be bothered by that. So I'm just kind of covering all the bases. This is an airless pump, so you're supposed to get every little last drop out. This one is a pretty basic concealer packaging. You'll see the packaging in the application portion. You also get 1 full ounce of this and 0.23 ounces of this, or 6.7 milliliters. I think I've covered everything. I really wanted to get into this collection because usually Jaclyn has a lot of controversy around her and her launches, so I usually try to cover all the bases when I'm doing a first impressions or review of any of her products, but I feel like I have babbled enough, so I'm gonna go ahead and get to the application portion. This episode is gonna be a little bit different than the others because normally I would go in with a blendful first and do that, and then a brush and sponge. But I was watching Jaclyn's IGTV video about this and the concealer, and she just goes in with her fingers, and then she says you can kind of go over it with a sponge if you would like. So what I'm gonna do today is I'm gonna do fingers on one side and then go over it with my Milani sponge. And then on the other side, I'm gonna use my e.l.f. Ultimate Blending Brush. And then off camera, I'll try it with the Blendiful just to see like what it does, but I'm not expecting it to do much from there because of the kind of product this is. But yeah, let's just go ahead and get started. I truly don't know what to expect with this product, but we're just gonna see what happens. So I'm just gonna take it on my finger. Okay, it's really thick. Okay, so that's like 3 small pumps. And what I did notice about this is the pump doesn't go all the way to the bottom. I'm guessing that's because it's an airless pump. I don't really know, but we're just gonna try this. By the way, this is in the shade Fair Light. I feel like I got too much on my fingers. Oh no, I got it in my hair. Gosh. So I don't know what to do with the rest of this. I'm gonna put the rest of this on my palette because I feel like I got way too much. That's my fault. So I'm just gonna like blend it in. Woo! That has a smell. Like a cleaning solution smell. Weird. Oh, this is odd. Like, it is kind of blurring, but let's just keep going and see what happens. It's kind of hard to do this on one side of your face. It does have like a cleaning solution kind of smell. Does this have fragrance in it? Yes. Why would you put fragrance in this? Like, I hate that. Okay, I actually think it looks pretty nice. I mean, I'm still blending it, but like, I was concerned about the color match, but I actually think it's all right. It's definitely not like a lot of coverage, but I can see what she's talking about, it being like blurring and kind of just perfecting your skin. I think it actually does that. It's definitely very sheer. So, in case you're wondering, you can see everything. But between the two sides, this one does look a little bit more perfected in my opinion. So I guess I'll go in with the Milani sponge just to kind of see like if it does anything. Really, it's pretty undetectable without blending it in with a sponge. Like I feel like I don't need to. But I'm kind of just following that IGTV video as it is because I'm really trying to give this product like the best chance I can to see how it really performs and everything, like I do with any other product, but it's just like a different kind of product. I feel like that didn't make any sense, but it did in my head. So there's that one side. I actually think that it looks pretty good. Normally I would go in with a second layer. I haven't decided yet, but I am gonna go into the other side and I'm gonna use the rest of this. I got way too much on that first pump for the other side, so I'm gonna put this on and then kind of blend it in with my e.l.f. Ultimate Blending Brush. Gosh, that smell is strong though. I'm just gonna blend that in. She doesn't really use a brush in the video, but I'm just kind of curious, and usually I do 2 different applications in the first impressions video of this series because I want to kind of, show as many ways as I can at once. Can you see the texture? I just don't think it's really working that well with a brush. I think it looks much better with like fingers and or a sponge. So I'm not loving it with a brush, but she doesn't really claim for it to be with a brush. So I'm going to kind of just smooth it over with my sponge. Yeah, I just don't think the brush is the way to go because even smoothing it over with a sponge, I feel like putting it on with a brush made it kind of like bunch right there. Can you see? So I'm gonna try to fix that. I really don't think that that is the product's fault. I really just think that it's just not meant to be with a brush. So that is one layer. I definitely can see how it's perfecting and not full coverage or anything. I don't think normally I would go in with a second layer, but for the sake of the video, I'm going to try a second layer and just see what happens. this might go poorly. But when I am trying it off camera, I'll just, you know, use one layer and that'll be it. Like, it's pretty much created to be. So let's just do like a small layer. It's like a little bit. I'm gonna put it actually all over the face because I'm just gonna go in with my fingers and a sponge because we know the brush does not work. I'm a little scared. The smell is killing me. It's so odd. I feel like I'm putting moisturizer on. It doesn't really feel like moisturizing. It almost feels like kind of tacky when you first put it on. But she kind of claims that it's supposed to keep moisture in your skin, but not really provide any extra moisture. She didn't like specifically say, oh, it's supposed to be moisturizing. She just kind of said, oh, it's supposed to lock moisture in or hydration in. So I'm wondering if this product kind of dries down because it is not blending on my nose. I'm kind of trying to press it in with this sponge, but it is really blotchy on my nose. What I'll do in the next application is just apply one layer because I feel like maybe I messed up by putting 2 layers on. It's not looking horrible everywhere else or anything. It's not my favorite so far because I feel like it's kind of sinking into my pores, but it's definitely not working on my nose. So I'm hoping the concealer can kind of, you know, help. You can see it bunching and like a little bit around my nose and on my nose. So not the best. Looks okay from far away. Doesn't look horrendous or anything. And the shade match is actually pretty good. It's just, it's not my favorite around here. So I don't really think that there's much else I can do to try to blend this on my nose. So I'm just gonna go in with the concealer and hope this kind of fixes it. I think this is supposed to be pretty matte. Not the biggest fan of matte concealers, but we're just gonna hope for the best. I don't think that this is the Skin Tint's fault. I really don't. I'm not just defending it or anything. I'm not like a huge fan of Jaclyn's or anything like that. Like, I don't have a problem with her personally or anything, but like, I'm not like a diehard fan where I'm being biased. I just think that maybe the second layer was a bad idea, but I wanted to do it for the video just to kind of see. It looks like so weird though. But I'm gonna take this concealer, and by the way, this is in the shade Fair Neutral, and I'm just gonna apply it lightly, and I think I'm just gonna go one area at a time. Pretty typical applicator, nothing special. And just let's apply it right here, and right here. And I'm just gonna go one eye at a time, just in case. It's what I normally do, because you never quite know how a concealer is gonna work. Just blend it in. Why is this not working well? Oh my gosh, it's not blending very well. I didn't put that much on, did I? So the concealer's kind of sticking to the skin tint and not really blending out. I feel like you can see exactly where I applied the concealer and it doesn't really look like I blended it out very much. Oh no. It's like picking up the skin tint. It's like so weird. Do you kind of see? It's so like dotted. Oh gosh. What is going on? Now, I don't think this is my fault. Let's do the other eye. Maybe apply. I feel like I'm not applying that much. Like I'm wiping off the edges. Like I'm pulling the concealer out of the tube and then wiping the edges off, like all the excess. So I don't feel like I'm actually applying that much. This is not going very well. I'm just gonna blend it in. Oh my goodness. I feel like I look, what is going on with this makeup? Do you see what I'm talking about when I say you can almost see exactly where I applied it and it doesn't look like I blended it very well or very much at all? Like I feel like it's like sticking to the areas that I'm applying it. This is not giving me hope. I feel like I look awful. It looks so splotchy all through here. I put the concealer on, it looks ridiculous. My under eyes look so dry. I have got to show you a clip in natural lighting. But before we do that, I'm really gonna try to salvage this nose. I don't really know what to do because I don't like the concealer very much. Oh my gosh. This is horrendous. This is not going well at all. How am I supposed to do a wear test when I look like a goon? Look how bunchy it looks. Can you see that? It looks ridiculous. Like, so bad. Oh my gosh, I don't know what to do. I almost don't want to mess with it anymore because I feel like this looks so bad. So, what I'm gonna do now is I'm going to finish the rest of my makeup and see like how everything else applies on top of it. Although I don't like the way it looks by itself, especially like in this region. So I don't really know what to do. I don't want to mess with it too much because I want to actually see, I guess, how this wears, even though I don't like the way it looks initially. My under eyes look so dry, and like it looks like I'm peeling, like I had a sunburn, but I don't, and this looks absolutely terrible so far. So yeah, I'm just gonna go finish the rest of my makeup and I'll see you guys here in a second. Okay, so I put the rest of my makeup on, and from a distance, I don't look terrible. I still don't think that the makeup looks great. I have to say, I think that putting the second layer on was a mistake, so my fault, but the second layer did work on the cheeks and the forehead. So I think maybe next time, if I do second layer it, I will not put it on the nose. But the cheeks look okay, and the forehead looks okay, actually. The nose I kind of helped it out with some powder. I mean, I wasn't trying to help it, but putting on powder did definitely help. The concealer is an absolute no for me. I think that it's way too dry and so hard to blend. Like, I put it on and then was trying to blend it out, as you could see in the footage, and it was just not going anywhere. Like, it was just sticking, like glue. It was just sticking exactly where I put it. So I think that looks really unblended and messy. I actually do think the skin tint looks pretty good everywhere else except for my nose area. And so I'm not hating it, but what I'm going to do actually is include a clip in this video with me just wearing one layer so you can see how it looks with just one layer on, because I really want you to be able to see how it looks with just one layer on as you're watching this video, so you can kind of compare it immediately in the same video. Does that make sense? So I'm not hating it all through here and on my forehead, and my chin actually looks okay too, but in the center, I just don't think a second layer is it. I absolutely hate the concealer. Don't think it looks good at all. So the concealer is a no from the start. Definitely hate it, honestly. Sorry. I'm not hating on Jaclyn or anything like that, but I just think the concealer looks ridiculous and is so hard to work with. But the skin tint, I do think has a chance, especially if you just use one layer. And honestly, I think that I would wear the skin tint with just one layer, like out somewhere as like a really quick, like something to put on, maybe even in the car or something like that. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at now. I'm about to go do a clip in outside natural lighting, and then I'm gonna go about my day and do check-ins every 4 hours until we hit the 12-hour mark. So it's 11 o'clock right now, so I will see you guys at 3 o'clock after I show you the outside lighting clip. Okay, so I'm outside in natural lighting. It is a really sunny day, so what I'm gonna do is I'm going to kind of step into the sunlight and close my eyes and just like give you like an up-close view of like the products. But I'm not gonna really talk or anything until I come back into the shade, and I'm not gonna have my eyes open because it is super bright. I love that it's sunny because it's been so rainy, but it makes it to where I can't look into the camera and like make specifics as I'm showing you the up close. But let me go ahead and show you the up close. So I do think that you can still see like the problem area on my nose where it's like breaking apart. I do think it actually looks pretty good everywhere else, and I do like the way it's kind of blurring out some textural issues I have from like past breakouts and stuff. So I'm not overall hating it. This area definitely does not need a second layer. I think that maybe you just go in with your preferred concealer, and like if you have any redness to cover, just like kind of spot conceal after you apply this. I really don't like the concealer. I actually think it almost looks better outside right now, but it is splotchy and I don't like it, and I don't like the way it blended. You can kind of see like it didn't blend under my eye there because it got stuck and there was nothing I could do about it. So I really hate the concealer. I don't think it's worth the money at all. I don't even think it would be worth like $1. I know that sounds terrible, but I'm just being honest. But that's kind of what we're looking like now. So I will see you guys in 4 hours for the first check-in. All right, so welcome to check-in number 1. It is 3 o'clock now. I feel like I look rough. It's coming off of my nose. As you can see, it's breaking apart, like around my mouth. The cheeks and forehead, once again, they actually still look good, but all in this area is looking terrible. The concealer, I just look, like my under eyes look so dry today. I'm very not impressed with that concealer at all. Jaclyn was like, oh, it's my favorite concealer. And I understand that she made it, but we must have like completely different tastes when it comes to concealer. So yeah, I'm just not loving the way this is wearing. I feel like it's accentuating every line or expression that I've made today, even if I don't have like a fine line or anything there. So it's just not doing so well, but yeah, that's pretty much just what's going on. So I'll see you guys in 4 hours for the 8-hour check-in. Welcome to check-in number 2. It's 7 o'clock now. The makeup on the cheeks and the forehead looks okay. It really is just not good in this area right here. Definitely think that the second layer in the middle was a terrible idea. I hate the concealer still. My under eyes have actually just felt so crepey and dry. Like when moving my face, it's almost felt like I've had something stuck under my eye. If that makes any sense, like something like sticky just holding my skin a certain way and making it feel weird. I don't know if that makes sense, but I'm hoping it does. So yeah, I definitely think that the second layer was a problem, especially in this area. Really everywhere else it actually looks okay. And the concealer is just an absolute no. So that's what I'm looking like right now. It's just continuing to break up in this like region right here. But really other than that, I'm just getting a little bit dewier and nothing else besides that has really happened. So anyway, I've got 4 more hours to go. So I will see you guys at 11 o'clock before I get ready for bed. And I will show you what it's looking like at the 12-hour mark. And then also I will discuss with you my final initial thoughts, if that makes any sense. And then also either before or after my final check-in and like close out, I'm gonna show you me with just 1 layer of the skin blurring tint on. And that way you can see it and kind of compare it to how the 2 layers was earlier when I was applying it. Just so you can kind of have something to kind of compare it to, and so also you can see just what 1 layer looks like as well. So until then, I'm gonna go about my evening, but I will see you guys in a little bit. Okay, so it is 11 o'clock, which means I'm about to take my makeup off, and this looks atrocious. Like, I don't know why it almost looks wet, but it's just like splotchy and breaking apart everywhere. It's like, look at how worn off right here is. My nose, I haven't blown my nose or anything today. The concealer is just so dry looking, and like the rest of my face is like greasy. I feel like my face is like 12 different colors. I don't know like what is going on here. I just feel like this skin tint is just not meant for long wear. I don't think it claims to be. Yeah, it just says great sheer coverage that smooths, blurs, and enhances skin's appearance for an effortless, no makeup look. So it doesn't really say anything about how long it should last. I definitely think this is maybe like a 5-hour tops kind of thing. It just does not look good. It looks actually pretty terrible. This is definitely a time where my foundation looks much worse than it usually does, like my face-based product does. So yeah, I just think it looks terrible. It just looks like, oh, like I look gross. Hate the concealer, not the biggest fan of the skin tint, but you know, I'll give you my more thorough, full-formed thoughts in the roundup video. So definitely make sure you have your notification bell on so you know when that video goes up, so you can really hear my like final thoughts of each of these products. what I'm gonna do now is I'm actually gonna wash this off, and then before I actually start getting ready for bed and closing off this video, I'm gonna reapply this real quick and just show you one layer so you can see what it looks like. After 12 hours, it looks just atrocious, but I'm gonna go do that and I'll be back to show you what one layer looks like. Okay, so ignore my purplish like eyelid and under eyes. I don't have the concealer on or anything, but this is just one layer. I do think that it looks better than two, but even applying it this time with just my fingers, it's still getting like caught up in certain areas no matter how much I blended. I think this dries down so fast that you almost have to work in like sections because it was drying down as I was like blending it in. So there is that. I don't think my skin looks amazing. I do think it looks a little bit more perfected, but I also think that it looks like I have something on my skin. But the point of this clip was more so you could see what it just looks like with one layer in comparison to the two that I put on like in the actual application portion of this video. So this is what it looks like up close. So you can kind of draw your own conclusions and decide which way you think looks better, like with one layer or two layers. I do think it looks better with one layer for the most part, but I do still think that it's kind of like collecting in certain areas and almost falling into my pores. And I did use the Hard Candy Smoothing Primer earlier today, and I did reapply it to put on this one layer to show you. So I feel like it kind of just collects in pores, like no matter what you do to prep your skin. So yeah, that kind of hopefully gives you an idea about what it looks like in comparison to how I applied it earlier with two layers. And that way you can kind of see how it just looks like if you were to just throw on one layer and like run out the door, if that makes sense. But anyway, this time I really am going to take my makeup off again and get in the shower and get ready for bed. But yeah, just not loving this launch from Jaclyn Cosmetics, but I will, like I said, come to you with more detailed like thoughts on the products and more thorough and full formed thoughts in the roundup video I do. Just keep an eye out for that video. But I hope you guys liked this episode of Foundation 5, and if you did, please give this video a thumbs up, and please make sure you're hitting the notification bell down below so you know when I upload in the future and when my next episodes go up for this series. And also subscribe if you're not already. I'm going to turn in for the night, but I will see you guys in tomorrow's episode. Bye!